Part 38. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 371. Chapter 371. After sending Feng Ling to Yejia, her uncle went back, because for Feng Shushan, he didn't care what Feng Ling's life would be like in Yejia. Of course, he couldn't think of staying with a disabled person. There would be a good life, but as long as the Ye family gave him money, it was none of his business whether Feng Ling lived well or not. After Feng Shushan left, Ye Feng arranged Feng Ling in a separate room because they were not married yet. Feng Ling herself also expressed her desire to know more about Ye King Han. What's more, it's already very difficult for a young girl not to dislike Ye King Han. Now Feng Ling wants to get to know her better before getting married, so there's nothing wrong with her. Don't everyone start by getting to know each other, then falling in love and then getting married? On this point, Ye Feng is still very open-minded. Feng Ling is at Ye's house. When Feng Shuang saw her father coming back, she immediately ran over and asked excitedly. Feng Shushan nodded, "Well, that's right, I've sent her to Ye's house, and she didn't make any trouble." "That's good." Feng Shuang breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, she would have to marry Ye King Han, and she didn't want it. With Ye King Han looking so disabled, how would she live in the future? She didn't want to be a caregiver. Man, she must be the one being pampered. At this time, Feng Shuang didn't know what situation he would encounter in the future. She is still in a complacent state, feeling that she has dodged a disaster. Second, Feng Ling went to school. Because Feng Ling was only 18 years old, like Feng Shuang, they both went to Jingyang High School. Feng Shuang's grades were very good, while Feng Ling's scores were mediocre in every exam. She was the kind of grade that teachers least noticed. However, no one knew that Feng Ling deliberately wanted to show off all this. Because, only in this way can she truly escape from people's sight, so that no one notices her. "Lingling, are you really married?" Ye Limo looked at Feng Ling and asked. "It doesn't count, we just know each other," Feng Ling replied. "Why, have you all heard about it?" "Right, it's all on the hot search, who doesn't know?" "Lingling, now marriage is about freedom, if you don't want to, then." "I know." Feng Ling smiled, "but I didn't expect it to spread so widely this time. It's just a pity. In the past, she would have taken advantage of this wave of popularity, but now, for Ye King Han's sake, she preferred to keep a low profile because she knew very well that she had to minimize the damage before Ye King Han's leg recovered. By the way, Ye Limo, lend me your homework." Feng Ling stretched out her hand. Ye Limo was speechless. "Lingling, when can you do your homework by yourself?" "No." Feng Ling gave the answer ruthlessly, and then wrote Ye Limo's homework in her homework book. Feng Ling's handwriting is very nice, but it's okay, but her grades are average. Ye Limo sighed. In fact, she sometimes felt that Feng Ling was quite smart, but why didn't she like to study? Moreover, Feng Ling was very good at copying homework and never let the teacher find out about it. All the teachers thought that Feng Ling was a good girl, but her grades were not up to par. In fact, only she, Feng Ling's classmate, knew what Feng Ling was like. "By the way, the school is organizing a spring outing tomorrow. Are you planning to go this time?" 3 years of high school, I didn't go to Feng Ling during the first 2 spring outings. "I'll go tomorrow." Feng Ling knew that they were going to Liangshan this time, and she happened to have someone there whom she wanted to meet, so she went just in time. "You really want to go?" Ye Limo's eyes lit up. "I will definitely take you to have fun this time. That's my hometown over there and I'm very familiar with it." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 372. Chapter 372. "Well, okay," Feng Ling replied while doing her own thing. Ye Limo was very curious about what Feng Ling was watching on her phone every day. "Lingling, What are you watching every day? It feels like you are holding your phone every day, as if you can't live without it. The signal over there in Liangshan, it's not as good as here. I know. I didn't do anything, just check something. Feng Ling saw that class was about to begin, so she threw her phone in her school bag. Take out the book and open it. It is clean and there is not a single word on it. Yeah, limo. She doesn't understand the world of big bosses. However, when we go to Liangshan, Feng Ling probably won't be able to use a mobile phone. The network there is terrible. However, what stunned Yeli Mo was that something happened over there in Liangshan. On the day they went there, the network was particularly good. Those who brought mobile phones were cheering, but she, who didn't bring one, could only watch others using their mobile phones, eagerly watching. Yelamo beat her chest and said, "Ah! If I knew I could use a net, I would have brought it with me. Why didn't I bring it with me?" Ling Ling. Yelimo was heartbroken and threw herself directly on Feng Ling's body. Feng Ling put away her phone and glanced at her. Go and set up a tent. They were going to stay here for one more night today. Just because of this, she could leave early during dinner later. Oh, Yelamo curled her lips, and then walked over obediently. Ling, how do you set up this tent? Feng Ling sighed, walked over, and took over the tent. I'll come. You cook and eat later. After dinner, I'm going to go for a walk. I have some things to deal with, so you don't have to come with me. What's so mysterious? Yeli Mo didn't care. She was always very lazy and didn't want to care about other people's affairs. Nothing, still the same, Feng Ling said. In fact, Feng Ling likes Yelimo quite a lot, because she is not as curious as others. Yelimo's curiosity is really very small, so explaining many things to her will save a lot of trouble. In the evening, Feng Ling left after eating, and Yelimo packed up her things alone and went to bed. Ling, you're here. Yefei. Feng Ling came in wearing a black cloak. Yefei is her friend, and she worked in the medical field together. Later, for some reasons, Yefei is here now. However, no matter what, Yefei is a particularly trustworthy person. She still remembers the time spent researching desperately with Yefei. This time, she also came here to discuss Yeking Han's problem with Yefei. Although she already had a general direction, if she had to ensure 100% success rate of Yeking Han's surgery, she would have to go with Yefei. However, Yefei's identity meant that she would not be exposed to the blue sky and daylight like this. Are you excited? When Yefei heard Feng Ling's request, his first reaction was not about his own safety, but about Feng Ling's problem as a child. Feng Ling pursed her lips. You should have heard about my matter. Yefei nodded. I've heard it, but you know, if you don't like your character, you won't come to me. Well, forget it. Feng Ling thought for a while, but I told Yejia that I want to try it with Yeking Han. I think he is very good. Whatever allows you to say the word very good must not be simple. Yefei curled his lips and said, okay, I agree. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Those people won't come looking for you. What's more, isn't there you? Can your skills guarantee this short trip? Okay. Feng Ling smiled. Yefei, thank you, really. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 373. Chapter 373. Thank you. I have nothing to thank you for. Yefei smiled. My current identity and life are all given by you. My life is yours, so I should help you. Don't say that. Feng Ling looked at Yefei and sighed. Yefei, I really hope you will treat me as a friend, not your master. Don't I regard you as a friend now? However, Feng Ling, you saved my life. For me, Every day now is a profit. Even if they really find me in the future and take me back, I will not regret it, because, during this time, it has been great to get to know you. Ye Fei went up and hugged Feng Ling. Feng Ling, it is the greatest luck in my life to be able to meet you. If possible, I really want to follow you for the rest of my life, but there is probably no other way. Ye Fei looked at Feng Ling with sincere eyes. This time should be the last time they met, because he would return to that home soon. Some things cannot be forgotten without escaping. This time, he wanted to see whether going back would be a dead end or a living chess game. Yeah, me too. Feng Ling didn't know what Ye Fei was thinking, but she was very happy now because the person who performed the surgery had been found. With Ye Fei and her together, there must be no problem with this operation. Next, it is a question of whether Ye Qinghan is willing to do it or not. Feng Ling went back directly to Ye's house. Ye Qinghan sat in a wheelchair and looked at the computer. The computer was full of foreign languages, and there seemed to be emails from different countries. But the man glanced 10 lines at a time, and there seemed to be no time to pause. Ye Qinghan, can I come in? Feng Ling knocked on the door. Ye Qinghan stopped what he was doing and replied, come in. Thank you. Feng Ling entered directly, then took a chair and sat across from Ye Qinghan. There is something I want to see you for your opinion on. What's the matter? About your legs. Ye Qinghan stopped what he was doing and looked at Feng Ling. What do you want to say? He was a little scared, a little afraid that Feng Ling would mind. However, what Ye Qinghan didn't expect was that the girl was not talking about this topic. I want to say, Ye Qinghan, if I said it was possible for you to stand up, would you be willing to try it? What did you say? I say, it is possible for you to stand up. When I grow up, the Ye family has hired many doctors, but none of them have taken good care of me. Who gave you this promise? Ye Qinghan looked at the girl. The girl's eyes were clear and there was no falsehood at all. Ye Qinghan believed that what Feng Ling said was true. However, since he was a child, he had eaten as much as he wanted and had many surgeries, but to no avail. Now, he no longer has the ability to believe. I can't tell you, but I can promise you that if we join forces, the probability of success is more than 90%. So, aren't you willing? Feng Ling looked at Ye Qinghan and asked. 90%? Ye Qinghan looked at Feng Ling, a little surprised. Feng Ling nodded, that's 90% correct. Let me think about it. Ye Qinghan pursed his lips. In the afternoon, Ye Qinghan told Feng Ling that he was willing. No matter what, I am not ashamed. Anyway, even if I fail, I will just have an extra scar. Since childhood, he has had countless scars on his body. Each extra line means one more failed operation for him, and he has become accustomed to it. Anyway, he has never felt what hope feels like. Ye Qinghan, I will let you stand up and stand proudly in front of everyone. I will definitely do it. Ye Qinghan, you know, I will never forget the scene of you leaving in front of me in my last life, forever. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 374. Chapter 374. These 377 chapters. That night, Ye Qinghan lay in bed and couldn't sleep. The girl's firm words were always in his mind. However, after so many expectations and disappointments, could he really do it this time? Can you really stand up? Ye Qinghan took out the photo beside the bed. There was a girl in it with a bright smile. If Feng Ling saw it, she would definitely find that that girl was her. The next day, the first thing Ye Qinghan said when he saw Feng Ling was, I agreed to your proposal yesterday. When will we arrange the surgery? Next weekend. Feng Ling curled her lips. Now, you have to maintain your physical condition to the best, so it's best not to stay up late or be overworked and nervous, do you understand? Yeah, I know. Ye Qinghan nodded, then looked at Feng Ling and said, Are you going to eat? I will take you out to eat. Master, Miss Yun 11 is here and wants to have dinner with you. The steward of the house, the country, said. Yun 11? Fen Ling raised her eyebrows. She had heard of this Yun 11 before. She heard that she was a woman with a very impressive academic background, which was different from her. However, Yun 11 also studied medicine, so she was also curious about this. What kind of person is Yun 11? Ye King Han frowned and said, tell her I have something to do. What's going on, you're so busy. Just after Ye King Han finished speaking, a girl wearing very revealing clothes came in. If Fen Ling guessed correctly, this must be the so-called Yun 11. Hello, my name is Yun 11. You must be the person Grandpa has found for brother Ye to carry on the family line. Yun 11 didn't seem to mind Fen Ling's presence, but what she said always made people feel something was wrong. Fen Ling is a woman, and she knows exactly what Yun 11's eyes towards Ye King Han mean. It's just. This Yun 11 is a bit strange after all. My name is Fen Ling. I know that you are the woman who will carry on the family line for brother Ye. What Miss Yun 11 said, Ye King Han and I are not married yet. How can we talk about passing on the family line? What's more, passing on the family line also requires the consent of two people. At present, I have not agreed. I hope that Miss Yun 11 will be more cautious in her words. Not only did she feel it was inappropriate to carry on the family line one by one, but even if she really wanted to carry on the family line, Ye King Han couldn't do anything about it in her current state. If you don't pass on the family line to brother Ye, why are you here? Yun 11 frowned, dissatisfaction flashing in her eyes. Understood, what's wrong with love? Miss Yun 11 is not Ye King Han's girlfriend, why should she care about so many things? When Fen Ling fought with Yun 11, she also got a general understanding of this Yun 11. She probably liked Ye King Han, but she seemed to be a little resistant to passing on the family line. How are you qualified to fall in love with brother Ye? She should be the one who is in love with brother Ye, so why does this newcomer want to take her place? Yun 11 disagrees 100% with this. Okay. Whether I am qualified or not, it is not your turn to speak. Fen Ling smiled coldly. Ye Qing looked at Yun 11 coldly, is that why you came here today to talk about this? Brother Ye, Yun 11 noticed that Ye King Han was angry, but she didn't understand why Ye King Han was angry. She obviously met Ye King Han first and decided to be Ye King Han's girlfriend, so she didn't mind Ye King Han. If her legs are not good, why should Fen Ling, a latecomer, take her place? She doesn't agree. But why didn't brother Ye help her? Yun 11 felt aggrieved. Brother Ye, I'm obviously your girlfriend, why are you looking for someone else? Didn't we agree that she would carry on the family line for you, and then you would be with me? Why are you going back on your word now? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 375. Chapter 375. This is a joke that adults told when you were a kid, you don't have to take it seriously. At that time, adults liked to joke, so they often tied him and Yun 11 together. Unexpectedly, Yun 11 believed it. However, Ye King Han has no feelings for Yun 11, so he feels very annoyed by all this about Yun 11. But you didn't refuse at that time. Miss Yun 11, you were all children at that time, and children don't understand emotions, don't you understand? Fen Ling felt a little speechless after hearing this. However, people don't seem to think so. No. You don't understand anything. Children are the most emotional. If you haven't experienced it, how do you know whether we have it or not? Yun 11 didn't like Fen Ling at all, and felt that her price had dropped when she heard her speak. Fen Ling sneered and shook her head, feeling that talking to Yun 11 was too disrespectful. Ye King Han should solve his own rotten peach blossoms. Fen Ling silently retreated behind Ye King Han, acting as if you could handle it yourself. Ye King Han. In desperation, Ye King Han could only ask the housekeeper to invite Yun 11 out first. This girl was really capable of making trouble, so he was afraid that Fen Ling would misunderstand something, even though they had nothing. After Fen Yongzi left, Ye King Han looked at Fen Ling. Is there anything you want to ask? Fen Ling shook her head. Nothing, I'm hungry, take me to eat. Really, Ye King Han was a little unconvinced. Many girls he met liked to think about many things, but Fen Ling seemed to be particularly heartless. Fen Ling smiled and said, I told you that it happened when we were kids. We haven't met each other since we were kids. I have nothing to be curious about. Besides, I hope that our relationship will be natural and not for a certain purpose. If I ask, then the feeling changes. There are some things that if you are willing to tell yourself, then I am willing to listen, but if you don't tell me, I won't ask. This is Fen Ling. Some people say she is lazy. Sometimes Fen Ling thinks about it and thinks, well, this seems to be her characteristic too. Okay, then I will tell you slowly later. Ye King Han smiled. He understood what Fen Ling was, but to his surprise, Fen Ling's views coincided with his to some extent. She is indeed his little woman. Oh, she is not yet, but he will definitely make her become her. What are you doing? Let me go. Do you know who I am? After Yun 11 was dragged out of the door, she looked at the housekeeper with an air of excitement. You are brave. Who do you think you are? You dare to drive me out? You should drive out the dove occupying the magpie's nest. Miss Yun 11, don't blame me for not warning you. Miss Fen Ling is the future mistress recognized by everyone in the Ye family, so you'd better not mess with Miss Fen Ling. This time, Miss Fen Ling has a good heart, but, next time, I'm not sure if people will care about it. After all, you know very well that some things are not suitable for asking again and again. What's more, you should be able to see that young Master Ye doesn't like you. Why do you bother with young Master Ye anymore? This is something that the housekeeper has never figured out. Although adults made fun of him when he was a child, Ye King Han had a physical condition. So I didn't meet Yun 11 a few times, and I didn't even see Yun 11 after she went abroad. Unexpectedly, Yun 11 returned to China later. The first thing she wanted to do when she returned was to be the young master's girlfriend. The young master disliked women, so of course he couldn't let Yun 11 do it. However, at that time, Yun 11 came here almost every day. As time went by, the young master became too lazy to pay attention to her and didn't even ask them to kick people out. However, this Yun 11 is very shameless and won't leave no matter what. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 376. Chapter 376. Yun 11 was angry after hearing what the housekeeper said and left directly. She didn't believe that Brother Ye would really marry that woman. That woman was to carry on the family line for Brother Ye. After giving birth to a child, Brother Ye would definitely separate from her. Now and she must be together because the child has not been born yet. When the child comes out and see where she can go, she is really angry. Yun 11 went home angrily. Her mother was a little confused when she saw her so angry. Yun 11, what's wrong? You're so angry, who provoked you again? She's not the woman that Brother Ye wants to marry yet. Obviously she is here to carry on the family lineage for Brother Ye, but she still treats herself as the mistress when she gets married. Who does she think she is? I am the mistress of the Ye family, okay. She is a fake. What qualifications does she have? Yun 11's face turned red with anger. She found a chair and sat down, then looked at her mother. Mom, you all said that I will be the one who can really marry into the family in the future, but why has it taken so long? Yeah, Grandpa still won't let me get married. Although I can't give birth to a child, I can take good care of brother yet. If that woman continues the family line, it would be better if she and brother yet, just give birth to one. Yoon 11 pursed her lips. Anyway, I just don't like that woman. Mom, can you tell Grandpa Ye and ask him to let brother Ye break up with that woman? After listening to Yoon 11's words, Bai Bing finally understood. Okay, don't be angry. Mom knows. Mom will ask your Grandpa Ye after a while. However, don't be too angry. Your brother Ye is concerned about the situation. You yourself also know that it is not easy for someone to be willing to carry on the family line for your brother Ye. Not everyone is as sensible, obedient, and kind as are Yoon 11. It was Bai Bing's intention to let his daughter marry Ye King Han, because the power of the Ye family is among the best in the whole world. Basically, the benefits outweigh the disadvantages for a daughter to marry into the Ye family. As for Ye King Han, her daughter can't have children anyway. Because of physical reasons, I was diagnosed as being unable to have children at a very young age. In this life, Yoon 11 will never have a child. Bai Bing sighed. If her child could have the ability to have children, she wouldn't have tried every means to give Yoon 11 to the Ye family. It's just. Why? Feng Ling, why are you here? Feng Shuang and Feng Shushan went shopping and suddenly spotted Feng Ling. Feng Ling stopped and frowned. She didn't know if she was backing up or not, but she could always bump into someone she didn't like unexpectedly. For example, Feng Shushan and Feng Shuang now, buy something. Feng Ling said coldly. Ye King Han gave her money and asked her to spend more. Although she also had money, she didn't know why, but she felt more comfortable using Ye King Han's money. Is it the money Ye Jia gave you? Feng Shuang accurately captured the card Feng Ling used to pay just now. That card was a gold card with a lot of money in it, which many people dream of. Unexpectedly, Ye King Han actually gave it to Feng Ling directly. Lend me your card. Feng Shuang stretched out her hand and said. Feng Ling's eyes cooled down. Why? This card belongs to Ye King Han. Ye King Han gave it to her, and it is her property. Why should Feng Shuang give it to her just because she said it was given to her? Who does she think she is? No, aren't we a family? Am I not your sister? You still ask why? What's more, our Feng family has raised you for so long, and there is hard work without credit. What kind of attitude do you have? Can you repay your kindness? Ah! Repay kindness. Feng Ling looked for it. This is a very ridiculous word, really. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 377. Chapter 377. When my parents died, who of you visited my parents except for an hour or two on the first day? When I lived at Feng's house, what did you give me and what did you provide for me to eat? That time I didn't solve it myself? Just like this, you dare to judge me without spending a penny. Feng Shuang, you are really shameless. Feng Ling, what do you mean? I obviously do it for your own good. Since Ye King Han has already given you the card, and you don't want to use it up, you are still exchanging it for me, so you might as well give it to me. As he said that, Feng Shuang planned to come over and grab him, but Feng Ling dodged him sideways. Feng Shuang, you'd better keep your daydream to yourself. After saying that, Feng Ling left. Feng Shuang stood still outside the station. Although it was not very cold, his feet and push just couldn't move. Feng Ling has been shopping all day, and she found that it is good to go shopping by herself occasionally. Look, isn't this Feng Lingna? Holy shit, it's really her. Why did she come out? I don't know. Look at her card, It's a gold card, it must be from the Ye family, she is so happy. Happiness is nothing, don't you know who she married? It's a cold night. Sometimes, this money can be earned or spent. You are right. When you say this, I have no sympathy for him. It's not that Fen Ling didn't hear it, it's just that she doesn't feel the need to argue now, because the unloading intention will be left to the on-site parliament. She bought something and went back directly. Unexpectedly, someone took some photos and posted them on the internet. Every time someone checks Weibo, they find this photo and start clicking on the girl's Weibo. In an instant, after being stuck on Weibo for a while, the network collapsed. When Fen Ling saw it, he was already at the top of the hot search list. Fen Ling. Others couldn't get into it even if they wanted to, so why did I get into it without doing anything? She clicked in and took a look. Fortunately, her image was pretty good. What did you buy? Ye Qinghan came back later. Fen Ling didn't know what he was doing, but she saw that he was dusty now. I bought clothes. What did you do? Why are they so dirty? I'm going to take out the stitches. Remove the sutures. Fen Ling glanced at it and said, oh, you are removing the sutures over there. Your clothes. Ye Qinghan reached out to grab the clothes, and Fen Ling realized that there was a thread leaking out of the clothes. I met Feng Shuang today after taking some time off. Fen Ling started chatting. She asked me to give her the card, but I didn't. By the way, as long as they work, we will start paying them wages. Fen Ling recently bought a store and started buying facial masks she made herself. She was still very nervous when using facial masks. Yes, I'll go take a look when the time comes. By the way, I want to know the specific procedure of the surgery you mentioned, is that okay? Ye Qinghan can't wait for the surgery now, because this way he can know whether he can stand up. He really wanted to stand up now, but there was no way yet. Well, that's okay, I'll have a look with you and see if you understand. If you don't understand something, you can always ask me. Do you understand? I know, Ye Qinghan said. He looked at Fen Ling. The girl's eyebrows were curved and she looked very happy. What happened today was just a drop in the ocean to Fen Ling, and he had no idea how she was feeling. She started talking to Ye Qinghan, and Ye Qinghan soon discovered that Fen Ling had many more things than he imagined. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 378. Chapter 378. Ye Qinghan discovered that Fen Ling did not have just a superficial grasp of medicine as he thought. There were many things she said that he had hardly heard from others before. In other words, this may have been realized by Fen Ling himself. Ye Qinghan looked at the girl and pursed her lips. You know a lot about medicine, but as far as I know, you are not a medical student. So, where did you learn this? Fen Ling knew that Ye Qinghan would be suspicious. If she was not suspicious, then she would look down on Ye Qinghan herself. However, she was very happy that Ye Qinghan would tell her directly. I have been studying medicine for many years. You can rest assured about this. However, where and how I learned it cannot be told to others. This is the rule of my school, so I am sorry. However, you can believe that what I learned is formal, even much more formal than the medical system outside. After I tell you this, you can think about it again. If you are willing to trust me, then give me everything you have. Fen Ling smiled after finishing speaking and waited for Ye Qinghan's answer. Ye Qinghan squinted his eyes. Fen Ling seemed more like a mystery than he thought. However, this was the kind of Fen Ling he liked. I want to believe you. After all, his life itself belongs to her. If she wants to kill him, then he will take his life for her. Fen Ling stood still, unaware of Ye Qinghan's thoughts. In her mind, Ye Qinghan had always been a particularly powerful man. Such a powerful man was willing to sacrifice his life for her in his previous life. This was her complete fault. Not expected. So in this life, she just wanted to see why Ye King Han liked her so much. She knew very well that if she asked Ye King Han directly now, the man would not answer her. So, she wanted to wait, waiting for the day when Ye King Han was willing to tell her, or the day when she found the answer herself. Now that you are ready, let's start next weekend. Fen Ling smiled and then said, these days, I will help you take care of your body. I will cook all the food. After you recover, we will let the kitchen master do it. Can you cook? This is something Ye King Han didn't expect. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows. I can only make some basic dishes that meet my surgical requirements. I can't do those that are too fancy, so you have to be prepared. The dishes I cook will definitely not be as good looking as those made by the kitchen master. Of course, she doesn't know if someone else's chef makes it delicious. Ye King Han glanced at Fen Ling and curled his lips. I want to try and see what kind of dishes you can make. He is looking forward to it. To be honest, he is really looking forward to it. Then just wait. After Fen Ling said this, she glanced at the time. It was almost dinner time, so she went directly to the kitchen and took a look at what was in the refrigerator at Ye's house. As expected, Yejia has all the ingredients. She doesn't need to think about what can't be done and which one to make. All the ingredients she wants are available. Fen Ling smiled and started to do it. Ye King Han watched the girl walk up to him with a lunchbox. Half an hour later, have a try. The girl's eyes reveal confidence. Ye King Han opened it, and the color was exactly as the girl said, not that pretty. However, what surprised Ye King Han was that after he took a bite, he suddenly realized that the taste of this dish was so good. He had never eaten such tender meat or such tender vegetables. Fen Ling's craftsmanship is unexpectedly good. What you cook is delicious. Where did you learn it? He wanted their master to learn it too. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 379. Chapter 379. Guess Fen Ling looked at the man playfully and finally said, I learned it from my master. Ye King Han. Well, okay, he understands, it's just something that can't be said. After a week of adjustments, Ye King Han's body has reached the best condition in all aspects. In addition, Ye King Han's physical fitness is usually good. Fen Ling can feel the muscles of his body, including his 2 legs, although he cannot walk, but the Ye family probably didn't give up on arranging a rehabilitation therapist for Ye King Han, so Ye King Han's legs showed no signs of shrinking, and were even a little stronger than the average person. Are you ready? At the door of the operating room, Fen Ling looked at Ye King Han wearing a surgical gown. The man nodded, I leave everything to you. That kind of trust made Fen Ling feel a little surprised. This man is really. Why do you trust her so much? Actually, she has nothing to trust. She is not a good person. System, give me the thing. Fen Ling shook her head to get rid of the thoughts in her head. The system said, good master. The system gave Fen Ling an anesthetic, which allowed surgery to be performed without any harm to the human body. This is also a way to improve the success rate of surgery. Thanks. After Fen Ling got it, he said something to the system. Ye Fei had been waiting for Fen Ling in the operating room early in the morning. When he saw Fen Ling pushing someone in, Ye Fei's only exposed eye curled up and said, here he comes. The last time he had an operation with Fen Ling was several years ago. However, he himself didn't know who the person who performed the operation was. Later, when he asked Fen Ling, he found that Fen Ling had forgotten about that incident, so he didn't mention it again. Unexpectedly, a few years later, he would be able to operate with Fen Ling again. This is my assistant, my name is Yefei. Fenling gave a brief introduction. Ye Qinghan nodded and narrowed his eyes at the same time. Is your surname Ye? Yefei didn't notice Ye Qinghan's strange behavior. He smiled and introduced himself to Ye Qinghan as a greeting. Hello, my name is Yefei, nice to meet you. Hello. Ye Qinghan replied, and Yefei was stunned for a moment. She seemed to have heard this voice somewhere before, but she couldn't remember it. The operation began. Fenling gave Ye Qinghan anesthesia. Soon, Ye Qinghan fell asleep. Ye Qinghan's leg condition is very complicated, involving some major arteries, so many doctors dare not move. If anything is not done right, Ye Qinghan will die. If a doctor watched Fenling perform surgery, he would definitely think that Fenling was a lunatic, because she shuttled between various major arteries, and the cold and sharp scalpel did not damage a single major artery. Her hands were accurate. Scary. Lingling, I haven't seen you for a long time. Your abilities have improved again. Yefei was assisting and said. Fenling smiled and said, he is very important to me, so I can't just let him go. I see, you really care about him. After this operation, I may have to leave for a while. Fenling's scalpel stopped. Why? Because I want to do something, but don't worry, it's nothing big. It's just my personal matter. Yefei made up his mind not to tell Fenling what he really thought, but he also knew that if he didn't say anything, Fenling would definitely think too much, so he simply told her that he was going abroad for a while. In this way, Fenling will not trust him. Fenling has always been a very close friend. Meeting Fenling is probably the luckiest thing in his life. Okay, please pay more attention to your safety and tell me if you have anything. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 380. Chapter 380. Yefei nodded, and after the operation was over, Yefei left. No one knew where Yefei went. Later, Fenling tried to find Yefei, but she couldn't find him either. Yefei, you are here. Well, Yefei looked at the man in front of her, then slowly knelt down. I'm back, father. She took off her hood and her long hair fell down her shoulders. The man looked at the woman in front of him with complicated eyes. Yefei, do you know how long we have been looking for you? As the daughter of the Ye family, do you know how much you have cost us by running away from the battlefield? Yefei knew that she was guilty. Yefei knew that she should not run away and should face the reality. However, Yefei vowed not to marry until she died. This time I come back, I just don't want to escape, but let me get married, father, don't you think you are a little whimsical? Yefei slowly stood up and said, when did the children of the Ye family have to marry to support the Ye family? Yefei, don't believe it. I believe that even if I don't rely on them, I can lead the entire Ye family to the future. You are thinking too wildly. If it were not for the Shangguan family, we would have already. That is the innate servility in your bones. However, you have it, but I don't. I have never received the slightest benefit from the Shangguan family. Therefore, the Shangguan family is just a drop in the ocean to me. I am the future heir of the Ye family. I will not be bound by anyone. If my father still wants me as his successor, then don't let me marry Shangguanhong. Yefei looked at her father with firm eyes. This time, she came back, but she also knew that she had changed. The days she spent with Fenling made her become more and more determined, able to let go of herself more and knew more and more what she wanted. What? So, in the future, she will definitely use this determination to develop and grow with the Ye family. Father, I want to turn the Ye family into a real medical family. You always think that I can't do it. However, over the years, I have traveled around the world and seen various cases. I dare say that in today's world, except that person, no one has better medical skills than me, so do you still think we have to rely on others? Yasu glanced at Yefei and smiled. You are still too young. In this case, I have heard it from myself a long time ago. There are people who are better than others. How do you know that you must be the most unique and the most unique? Unique. How do you know that you can lead the family to the top by yourself? Then how does father know that my marriage to Shang Guanhong will definitely make the family grow stronger? Father, I don't agree. No one can compare with me. If you let me marry Shang Guanhong, then all you will get is a chess piece of the Shang Guan family, an emotionless waste. Family, I will not develop and grow, but continue to be a puppet of the Shang Guan family. What should I do, father? I think you should be clear. Fei looked at Yesu. Yes, she was threatening her father, but there was no other way. She knew very well that only in this way would Yesu truly agree to her. Fei, you challenge my patience again. Yesu was a little angry. Fei smiled and said, Father should know that since I dare to come back this time, it's not that I have no preparations. Yes, you know what I have prepared and my character. If you don't agree, then, I will understand myself before marrying Shangwenhong. Father, you decide for yourself. The girl took out a knife and put it to her neck. The eyes are unafraid. Yesu couldn't understand her anymore. End of this chapter.